In this video, we will talk about 2D drawings and how we can edit them using different tools in Blender. Now, in the previous video, we talked about the differences and similarities between curves and NURBS objects. Now, we also anticipated a little bit about the grease pencil, which is kind of a sketch and hand drawing tool that you can use either for 3D drawing but also with 2D as well, and also with animation. So we're gonna do kind of a introduction of that, and we will see that basically they are all based on the same concept, and sometimes they share the same tools, and they are all basically 2D drawings, but again with a different format, but they all essentially work in a similar way. Now we also going to work with imported graphics, and this is really important because Blender itself is not a complete vector graphic application. It's not specific for that. It has a lot of tools, a lot of handy tools, a lot of interesting tools, and sometimes also better than other software. But if you want to do, for example, architecture or like industrial design, well, I think that you should use other software. For example, if you need to do architecture and industrial design and engineering, you should move into AutoCAD, create your blueprint there, and then you can import it into Blender. And if you work in graphic design, perhaps the best tool out there is Illustrator. There are also others like open source and so on. And again, we talked about Rhinoceros 3D, which is also can be used to create not only 3D but also 2D drawings, technical drawings. And you can also use SketchUp, which is another software. Now, if you look for in our channel, you will find this software and videos and courses dedicated to them. Again, we talked about the NURBS mesh, we talked about the font and the vector graphics, where they are. Then we will see here how we can use the SVG files. And in this video specifically, we're gonna concentrate on the graphic design aspect too, things that usually you do in Illustrator or similar software. So we're gonna see here again what we can do and to create kind of a logo shapes and create and design and draw organic shapes or logo shapes, and also how we can import again a file from Illustrator and turn it into a 3D logo or 3D graphic design asset. So we're gonna continue to talk about vector graphics basically and talk about vertices and vectors and so on. So let's start a little bit with the grease brush here or grease pencil. So you can see here I created some strange things and also this little drawing in the previous video. So I'm gonna continue here on this right side. Now you can use the grease pencil here, or you can just create a new file and do a 2D animation, but we're going to talk about animation later. So I just want to show you the basics here for the grease pencil. So I'm gonna go to Add, and you have here the grease pencil tool, and we added a monkey in the previous video and also a simple stroke. Now you can start from there. You can also start from blank if you want, but this is gonna show us a little bit how we can use it. Now, first of all, let's select this grease pencil Suzanne here, the Blender mascot. So I can zoom here and you can see I have created also some additional lines there. And you can see that when you use the grease, it's composed by these layers. So it's like, again, working in Adobe Illustrator or in Photoshop, where you can create more strokes and more fields. Well, those are the two essential things that you can do, stroke and fields, and you can create also layers. So you can turn them on and off. Now, this mustache here that I've created is actually in the fields layer, but if I go to the edit mode and then I can select it and I can remove it if I want, if I don't like it anymore. But you can see there now these are all the points that I can select. So the grease pencil is nothing but another way you can create vector graphics or curves, so it doesn't change much. Just the representation changes, but this is still, you can see there are full of vertices, a line full of vertices, and so on. So this is just to introduce the Suzanne character. Now let's go here on the brush stroke. So I'm gonna go outside object mode and then click again there, and there you go. So we can switch again to the edit mode, and again you will see all these different points. Now you can edit those just by simply selecting them and moving them, and you have some extra editing tools here, but again I want to show you these later because they are basically the ones that you find also in the other curves, more or less. And also here you can change, you have the draw mode. Now the draw mode, it's more complex, and it's gonna give you a whole new set of tools here. And well, this is basically like a painting application. So up there you can change the pencil type. Also from here you can click there and change it. Okay, you can change the color, and make sure that you are not in the solid view here, but in the not solid shading, but in the material preview, because this is actually like drawing and together creating like a tube and applying a material there. So it's like we creating a pipe like we did in the previous video, but this time these are colored and they look like, again, they are sketch, but they are actually in 3D. If I turn around there, I can see it. Now, another important thing for the grease pencil is that you're always working with the camera that you are using. So if I draw here a shape, which is going to be a box, and I'm gonna draw it like this, you go. You can also, you can press enter here. You can go back. Let's try with another type, and well, change color also. Okay, and also you have the radius, the strength, and all other tools here that, well, they're not difficult to figure out. But you can see here, if I changed my perspective, now this was exactly how I was looking at my scene before. So it created this rectangle. So the bottom line is, if you want to do exactly a 2D shape and place it exactly in a place that you know where it is, you should use the grid there or the other views. So if I work here in the top view, let's create something else here, like a line, simple line. So I'm gonna click there and drag. Well, actually, I want to make this a little bit more visible, so I'm gonna choose another color. Okay, so this is the line, and you can see it changed the stroke type. And if I see here now in the perspective, it's gonna be there in the x-epsilon axis. It doesn't move from there, so that's okay. And if I want to work in the front view, I should move here in the front. And let's do another thing again. So this is a polyline. This is something that you find in AutoCAD, for example, to create like walls and structures. And if you hold Shift, you can work in orthogonal mode. So it's gonna only go vertical and horizontal. So you can, well, if you have like an image down below there, you can simply trace it, vectorize it. This is just, again, an example. So I'm holding Shift right now to do these nice corners, and then press enter, and your line here is created. Now you can create closed lines, you can create closed shapes, open lines, and you can fix that. I'm gonna show you later other types of tools. Now this one here is pretty similar to the curve that we already know. So it has some points, it has some handles, and well, also make sure here the layers. So if you want to create stuff on more than one layers, you can go there and change it. So let's press enter. So this last line there was in this other layer, and all the rest was in the layer there, and then we have colors. So when you work with the grease pencil tool, you can also check the layers. And well, basically just have a look here. You will find some parameters for the opacity and also thickness. This is interesting, so you can increase the thickness of your brush. So some parameters are right here to edit. Just make sure that you are here in this green icon, so you can select it from there. You have other editing tools here. You can change it also from here at the top. You have some options. Here you have kind of a preset stuff, so you can, let me show you, for example, if I change here to red, well, it's creating the same thing, but if I use the gray, I'm gonna create here a rectangle. So you can see this is like a filled layer, and these others are not filled, but they are like only the stroke. So you can create fields and stroke again like Illustrator. But I'm not gonna go too deep with this. If you want to, you can also check other videos and you will find additional information in the manual. Now I want to get back to this more technical stuff here, more technical drawings, and perhaps later on with animation we will come back to some of these other type of drawings in Blender. So let's go here and start to work with some lines. So if I just select, well, go outside here and go to object mode. Now this one here was a previous curve that I have just extended. So let's create a curve, go to add, let's create a curve here. So I'm gonna use the standard Bezier, then we're gonna edit this a little bit. So we start always from a path basically, and then we can, as we already know, we can extrude this and make a surface, a simple surface, or we can make already a 3D by using the bevel, which is again similar to using a grease. So it's a grease pencil. It's like working in 2D and 3D simultaneously. Now I'm gonna make this 0 because I just want to focus on the path. So this is also how Illustrator works. It's based on paths, which are underneath the strokes and the fields, basically. Okay, let's go to edit mode. And we already know that we have handles. This is how Bezier works. They are curves with handles, so I can move them and place them using the vertices or the handles, and the result is the curve inside, which is the vector. And if I want to extend this or extrude it, I can press E. So it's gonna create an extra step here, and again E, and you can see here